What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 73 of the Game Room Podcast. I'm your host, Rome, alongside Dev.
Yep.
What's up, Dev?
Not much.
So we saw, so tired. We saw Deadpool.
Yeah, we saw Deadpool.
What a fucking movie, man.
Yeah, it was great.
Oh, my God. We're going to get into the games today, obviously, and we're going to talk about a bunch of stuff, including Game Informer shutting down, layoffs at Bungie, Zelda trailers, Avowed being delayed, but like, let's talk about Deadpool for like a minute or two at least.
It's a good movie. Should we go into spoiler territory? Or should we keep it?
I don't want to go that spoilery yet, but
early.
To be fair, Ryan Reynolds is already on Twitter like spoiling it now, and like he did it today. But I don't know, like
it was just such a love letter to the era of Marvel movies that we got growing up.
Yeah, the Fox Marvel.
Yeah, the Fox Marvel.
Yeah, it's just such a special movie, and it was exactly what I thought it was gonna be, but also like way more.
Yeah.
Like I thought it was just gonna be like, hey, it's Deadpool getting thrown into the MCU. There's gonna be a lot of Marvel jokes and a lot of Disney jokes, which there were, and that was great. But I wasn't expecting it to be also more of a look backwards.
I was with Wolverine, but I thought it stopped at Wolverine, because Wolverine's been such a big part of what Ryan Reynolds like. He talked about it before, and like him becoming Deadpool and what Wolverine Origins, and how awful a version of Deadpool that was.
Yeah.
Which he ends up later on killing. So I think it just comes full circle with him having Hugh Jackman, Wolverine. I don't know. It's just great all the way around. Such a love letter.
God, it was so great. And there's a few moments in it. Like obviously, we're not going to go to too spoilery territory, but I got to give it to them. And there's a moment in the movie that's probably for me, just because I didn't know it was coming. It might just be like a top 8, top 7 Marvel MCU moment ever. It's just like I just wasn't ready for it because I went in completely spoiler free.
Yeah.
I went in blinders on and man, I was not ready for this movie, but I'm glad it exists and I had a blast, and they are not gonna let Wolverine go. It's the highest grossing rated R movie domestically ever.
Yeah.
It beat Passion of the Christ, which Passion of the Christ held the record for over 20 years. So this isn't like a record that it gets one-upped, often. Like Passion of the Christ came out and it was the highest grossing rated R movie for 20 years.
Yeah.
Until this movie came out. So,
He did call himself Marvel Jesus. So.
I made that joke today too with Jackie. I was like, oh man, it's like he knew.
Yeah.
He's like, we're gunning for Jesus.
You want a guy like Ryan Reynolds to make, he cares about Deadpool so much, and you want that kind of spirit to be in any IP. We talked about the Halo show getting canceled, and it's man, I wish someone who had as much passion as Ryan Reynolds has with Deadpool with Halo was working on that show. You saw, I guess you could see it in Fallout. Fallout has it.
Yeah, Fallout. You could see that the people that made that show actually care about Fallout. Like Mario Brothers movie, there's people there that care.
Yeah,
and it's and
I'm such a big fan. And he's such a big fan. That's the cool thing.
Yeah, he's such a big fan, and it's like two fans talking to each other. It's like you're watching this movie. It's like, hey, would it be cool if this happened? Yeah. Well, we did it.
That's what that was. I was talking to Forrest about that too. It's getting those fights. I don't want to say all of them, but the main one obviously is Deadpool Wolverine. You got a Deadpool Wolverine fight in a movie. Marvel, they used to do that, and they don't do that anymore. And I hope they get back to that.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about between that and the RDJ news. It's just it's hard not to feel rejuvenized for the MCU.
Yeah.
And I really hope that they can kind of swing this momentum back.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. I mean, I think the big one.
Keep the Russo brothers in there. Pay them whatever you need.
Whatever. Well, you know that apparently, so the writer for the new Avengers movies as well it's the old writer too. They brought back the writer who worked with the Russo brothers. So all the Captain America movies, the Avenger movies.
If you're Disney, you're look, these guys, whatever we have to pay them, they're gonna bring in so much more money.
Yeah, it's the MCU was really kind of downtrodden. It was kind of going down.
Yeah.
And so they kind of had to do something. And it's this is your something.
Yeah.
This is your, you bring the Russo brothers and you bring the writers back. You bring back RDJ. Maybe you bring back someone else, We'll never know.
One of the things we talked about, and I was actually thinking about this since that movie, I'd be okay if Old Man Cap came back because he's still technically alive.
I think they're totally gonna do that. By the way,
that would be cool.
They're gonna do that in New World, or New Order, New World, whatever.
That would genuinely
Brave New World. That's what
Brave
it is.
Yeah, that would be cool. Old Man Captain America would be awesome. Even if he doesn't stay Cap, he's just there.
I do think they're gonna bring Steve Rogers back as Cap at some point, and I think that RDJ being Doctor Doom, the fact that he's just there. I saw this theory online. I was thinking it too. So if you look at the Avengers movie logos, the first one, which is about Doctor Doom, it's the Doctor Doom colors. It's like green and silver.
Yeah.
Secret Wars, Iron Man colors. It's red and yellow.
Okay.
That's Ash is trying to destroy my leg right now. Anyways, so go see Deadpool. It is a phenomenal movie. I want to go see it again.
Especially if you've been a fan of older Fox Marvel movies. Go see Deadpool.
Honestly, like, I'm on vacation next week, and, like, I'm going to be out of town for most of the week, but on, like, Friday morning, like, I might not have anything to do. I might just fuck around and go watch Deadpool again, honestly. Okay. Just catch a matinee, half price.
I want you to start, like, get into some of the X-Men movies. They really are good.
I've seen a bunch of them. Okay. I've seen a good chunk of them.
Just not.
I can't lie. I'm not going to lie. I haven't seen the Wolverine ones.
Which he's in 10 of them, so you missed.
Yeah, I know. I'm aware.
It's alright. It's
like I saw the first 3 X-Men movies that they made, like X-Men X2 and then X3.
Mm-hmm.
I saw 2 of the newer ones. Or wait, I think I might have seen all the newer like X-Men movies, like with the new actors.
If you watch all the X-Men movies in order, even like up to the newer ones, they all connect.
Right.
So it's really cool. Like even the changing of actors, they have like an explanation for it.
Yeah, that I do.
It's pretty good.
I do remember that. But yeah, so that's Deadpool and Wolverine. Go see it. We're gonna check it out. But for now, let's get into the gaming news. Starting with number 1 on the headlines, Dev. Really sad news. Devastating news. I mean, honestly, you made a joke with the title of it being like R.I.P. Part 2, where it's like our ongoing series of like the death of gaming, all culminating with GTA 6. I just expect it to get worse over the next year, by the way, folks. Like, next thing you know, you're going to turn around.
Part 2 of the Death
like,
series.
Nintendo's going to go out of business. Like, it's over. It's just, we're cooked. We're completely cooked. But no, so, GameStop, the company that's dying, and I have some thoughts about GameStop specifically with this news, but we'll get to that later. They shut down Game Informer, the longest running gaming magazine in the United States. It is officially dead. GameStop killed it. It began publishing in 1991 and has been one of the last remaining physical game magazines in the world, with cover stories that continue to share deep dives and exclusive interviews on the biggest games coming out, from Final Fantasy VII Rebirth to Star Wars Outlaws. No more. Staff at the magazine, which also publishes a website, weekly podcasts, and online video documentaries, including a YouTube channel. Like, they were doing a playthrough of like Majora's Mask right now, even. We're all called into a meeting on Friday with parent company GameStop's vice president of HR. In it, they were told the publication was closing immediately. They were all laid off and would begin receiving severance terms. At least one staffer was in the middle of a work trip when the team was told.
Oh man!
So this guy's traveling for Game Informer, on his way probably to a studio somewhere to do some sort of preview. And he gets like, hey, you just get off your flight.
He does a vacation at that point.
I guess. I would still go to the developer.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, like I got a scoop.
I don't gotta write anything. I'm just here for.
I would turn it into a scoop and be like, hey, I just got laid off and this appointment is still there. Can you guys see me?
Sell it as an independent.
Yeah, just be like, hey, here's my preview.
Yeah.
A great start. Anyways.
It's a great resume thing to bring in.
Right. Well, we'll get into that about the resume thing because there's some fucked up shit with that as well.
Oh man.
The sudden closure of Game Informer means that issue number 367, the outlet's Dragon Age The Veilguard cover story,
which you have, right?
It will be delivered. I don't think it's been delivered. It might be upstairs.
You got the last Game Informer you're gonna get.
Yeah. The entire website has been... Oh, so that Veilguard story, cover story, will be its last physical magazine ever. The entire website has been taken offline as well. The Game Informer Twitter account, which has since been deleted after employees used it, which we'll get into that as well. So originally, Game Informer's Twitter posted this this terrible message. It was, After 33 thrilling years of bringing you the latest news, reviews, and insights from the ever-evolving world of gaming, it is with a heavy heart that we announce the closure of Game Informer. From the early days of pixelated adventures to today's immersive virtual realms, we've been honored to share this incredible journey with you, our loyal readers. While our presses may stop, the passion for gaming that we've cultivated together will continue to live on. Thank you for being part of our epic quest, and may your own gaming adventures never end. So that was basically written by AI. It wasn't real. It was not a real statement. An update that we did get today was we got one last tweet from the Game Informer staff. An actual person. It was a quote, "Our 33-year legacy deserves a genuine goodbye," written by a former Game Informer member. "We're heartbroken by the shutdown of our publication, yet we leave with pride knowing that we poured everything we had into it. In the words of our editor-in-chief, be well, play well." And then they do go on to kind of list also the credits for what would have been the next cover or the next edition, saying like these were the people that all lost their jobs. These were the people that worked on this magazine. Again, now Game Informer was hit with layoffs like a couple years ago. So they were already running on a skeleton crew. But here's another reaction from Kyle Hilliard. "A frustrating turn of events, especially considering we were about 70% done with the next issue, and it was going to have a great cover," tweeted Game Informer magazine content director Kyle Hilliard after the news broke. "I'm furious about the end of Game Informer," tweeted former video producer Ben Hansen. "It was an incredible 33-year run, and then GameStop pumps out this phony, empty farewell message. I bet it was written by AI. Fuck you, GameStop, and a huge fuck you to Ryan Cohen, who's the CEO of GameStop, who, by the way, is getting sued for insider trading with Bed Bath & Beyond. Every URL for the Game Informer website now redirects to the official statement, erasing more than a decade of articles, reviews, and original reports that helped establish a record of the notoriously secretive and volatile video game industry. A recent in-depth feature..."
So even the website's just gone?
So the website's gone. So there was a lot of people both just recently laid off from Game Informer and like way past Game Informer who said, "I can't find, all my portfolio's gone. Like, it's just gone.
Yeah, that's
They
weird.
can't access it." Not only that, but so after that Game Informer employee put out that farewell tweet, they nuked the Game Informer Twitter. Like, they just closed it.
That's crazy. Why is it so harsh? I don't understand.
I don't get it either. I don't know if like they were so cheap about it. GameStop didn't even want to like pay domain rights for the website. The Twitter, I don't understand. But so every URL on the Game Informer website now redirects to the front page. Like if you were to go on there right now, it'll just lead to that AI prompt. Luckily there are people in the community, the MinMax community, which is made up of former Game Informer staff. Like they're doing a preservation.
Yeah, I imagine I imagine it's going to be easy for everyone to get like just scan every magazine and eventually upload it to one database somewhere.
Yeah.
So, but it's just like, I don't know.
So I mean, Game Informer has obviously had a rough go of things in recent years. I mean, they were purchased by GameStop back in 2000. I mean, we grew up with them being a subsidiary of GameStop. It's just like, man, it's really upsetting. I mean, I always remember. I mean, I'm just gonna go through these. Yeah. I pulled like 20, so like, just to kind of go through because this isn't all I have, but this is just like a few that I grabbed.
Yeah, so the video I just had up, he went through a bunch of them that he had from 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like.
Yeah. So.
A bunch that he probably didn't show.
Yeah. So it's just like, I guess if you want, you can show them while I'm talking. But here's like the PlayStation 25th anniversary cover that I thought was really neat.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah. Here, you can keep going through them. Just kind of yell them out. Shout them out. So that's Black Ops 4. That was one of my favorite Call of Duties in terms. I remember getting this issue and I was like, there's no campaign. I'm not going to care about this. And then I read about Blackout and I was just like, oh my god. Yeah, so I mean, like I always Game Informer always like really like important to me and. Sick.
Yeah,
I picked something that you might like too. Is that the Control one?
Yeah, this one's really cool.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna like the Control one. Ash has unplugged my laptop, so we are in a real rough situation now. But so anyways, like I just always remember Game Informer. Like I would get them in the mail, and I'd be so excited. I would bring them to school, and like would pass them around my advisory class, and then I would see you like first or second period and be like, "Yo, did you see this? And, like, here's the issue." And like,
you were the reason I signed up for it.
I know. I just always remember getting so excited with Game Informer, and I mean, obviously, I never
E3 on a Game Informer magazine.
Oh, man. It's like, but it's like, man, it's so depressing because it just such memories. Like I always remember getting the Game Informers and just reading them like religiously front to back. Might as well have said that they were my Bible, because it was just like I would get this issue and I would read it. I would know all the review scores and knew all the release dates. Like teachers in school, some of the younger teachers who would like play games, like were always asking me questions about it. And like, yeah, it's just it's really unfortunate. Game Informer for me, I would like kind of like, obviously we do this podcast for fun, but like growing up, like I wanted to do like games media as a career. It just kind of never panned out that way for me. Mm-hmm. And like Game Informer was always like one of the earliest influences of that, where it was like man, people like make a career. Oh yeah, that's one of my favorite ones. That's one of my oldest ones actually. Is the Assassin's Creed 2 cover. Yeah, it's just, but it was like one of my earliest influences for like really wanting to follow games and know about games, not just play them, but like hit that next level of like, I want to know everything about games. Yeah. And Game Informer was a really early influencer on that. Dev, I'm going to plug my laptop back in. Just keep showing these amazing covers, because Ash is just trying to sabotage us, to be honest. It's actually kind of crazy, considering... Dude, look at this. She literally got her toy wrapped. I don't even know how she did this.
She's like, you don't pay me enough. She's rebelling.
Well, she broke our lamp. She broke one of our lamps on the Game Room podcast, so now we're like working without one of our lights. Here, go. Come on, get out of here. Go away. But yeah, no, so that was, those are the Game Informer covers.
This Gen Alphas, they don't want to work.
Yeah, right? So...
This is the last one you got, the most recent one you got.
Right? So it's not the most recent one, but this was just the one that I had, so... This is Star Wars Outlaws. I have two other ones that are upstairs. I just didn't get to grab them. But, yeah, this is like really, for all intents and purposes, the last like hype Game Informer that I ever got, where I was like looking at like, I'm excited for Star Wars Outlaws. This game comes out in a month, and I was really excited for it. And so, really upsetting stuff. So here's some thoughts I have about GameStop. Right? Mm-hmm. So obviously, we know that physical media is dwindling down. We understand that. Yeah. At this point, it's going... I personally don't think it's ever going to fully 100% go away. No. I think it's going to remain niche, but...
Yeah, there's always going to be people that want to buy it, and like...
Yeah. But so, for me, we obviously know that GameStop, its longevity, its days are effectively numbered unless it can figure something out. Yeah. This move, for me, tells me that GameStop will not survive. Yeah. This was the move... So, here's the reasoning for that, right? So, GameStop has to evolve in order to succeed. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the ways you should definitely continue to try to succeed and thrive and survive is through an online presence. Become an outlet. You know what I mean? And so like when you shut down your gaming media footprint, mm-hmm. and you just completely nuke it and it's gone, it's like, well, that tells like... So now the GameStop's farthest reach on the internet is their Twitter account. Okay. Like you went from having a gaming media outlet in your company that was covering gaming news, that was doing reviews, that was going to preview events, doing press events, that was doing documentary pieces, that was doing gameplay live streams, that was doing a podcast. You went from doing all of these things to now you're not doing any of that. You're just a Twitter account posting memes. So, like, for me, that just shows GameStop's days are numbered. I mean, like, they're going to, I guess, dig their heels into the ground and try to sell retail, physical, new games as long as they can, and I think it's going to fail eventually, unfortunately. I think if GameStop was smart, they would have kept Game Informer around, and they would start to kind of shift their focus to more of a retro outfit. Thank you, Ash. More of a retro outfit, like where it's like, hey, so you can still sell new games, new consoles, but like obviously you have to understand your clientele is shifting, so you should try to appease and appeal to that clientele. And this move tells me that GameStop does not have an interest in doing that.
I'd also have to imagine the subscribers, they probably didn't have a lot of subscribers, you know what I mean?
Well, so they did their last Hail Mary like a couple months back where like, and I told you about this, where it was it was $20 for 10 issues, or it was like $19.91 to be like, hey, this is the year we were founded. Like, if you want Game Informer to stay around, you know, you should definitely subscribe to this, which I did. I have contacted they have an email for refunds. I have not heard back since Friday. So, GameStop, I want my fucking refund. First and foremost, I don't care if it's prorated or whatever. I paid for 10 issues. You gave me 4.
Yeah.
I would like, I don't care if it's fucking $10. You don't deserve that $10. I want it back.
Looks like you're going to be in the next lawsuit, the next gaming lawsuit.
That's what I'm saying. Someone, like, get the gamer lawsuit, guys. Like, we need them, right? This is actually where we need them. I have not heard back yet. I guess I'll keep you guys updated on that, but I emailed on Friday. It's currently Monday night, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so really unfortunate stuff with Game Informer, and it's just another example of video games dying and being dead forever. And
not dying, changing.
GTA 6 is gonna be great, man. It's gonna be the last video game. Series finale of video games. Ash agrees. Yeah. So
until Minecraft 2 comes out.
That's never happening. It's never happening. They're never coming out of the Minecraft 2. Yeah, so rest in peace, Game Informer, and hopefully everyone lands on their feet. And I already saw, I gotta go check it out, but MinMax posted a video today, so I guess when they, like a couple months ago, they stopped using the offices, maybe they sold the office, but so the MinMax guys, who your former Game Informer guys, went into the office and did like a tour video.
Okay.
Which they like just put out or something, I guess.
That's cool.
Yeah, like and again, people kind of had the idea that it might be going that way. So, yeah, I'm going to check that out, and everyone else should check that out as well. But let's move on to number 2 in the headlines. The news doesn't get much better to start, Devereaux. A new path for Bungie. This was on their official blog from Pete Parsons. This morning, which was July 31st, I'm sharing with all of you some of the most difficult changes we've ever had to make as a studio. Due to rising costs of development and industry shifts, as well as enduring economic conditions, it has become clear that we need to make substantial changes to our cost structure and focus development efforts entirely on Destiny and Marathon. That means beginning today, 220 of our roles will be eliminated, representing roughly 17% of our studio's workforce. These actions will affect every level of the company, including most of our executive and senior leader roles. Today is a difficult and painful day, especially for our departing colleagues, all of which have made important and valuable contributions to Bungie. Our goal is to support them with the utmost care and respect. For everyone affected by this job reduction, we will be offering a generous exit package, including severance, bonus, and health coverage. I realize all this is hard news, especially following the success we have seen with the final shape, but as we've navigated the broader economic realities over the last year, and after exhausting all other mitigation options, this has become a necessary decision to refocus our studio and our business with more realistic goals and viable financials. We are committing to 2 other major changes today that we believe will support our focus, leverage Sony's strengths, and create new opportunities for Bungie talent. First of all, we are deepening our integration with Sony Interactive Entertainment, working to integrate our 155 of our roles, roughly 12%, into SIE over the next few quarters. SIE has worked tirelessly with us to identify roles for as many of our people as possible, enabling us together to save a great deal of talent that otherwise would have been affected by the reduction in force. Second, we are working with PlayStation Studios leadership to spin out one of our incubation projects, an action game set in a brand new science fantasy universe, to form a new studio within PlayStation Studios to continue its promising development. This will be a tremendous change for our studio. Let's unpack how we ended up in this position. It's important to understand how we got here. For over 5 years, it has been our goal to ship games in 3 enduring global franchises, So realizing that ambition, we set up several incubation projects, each seeded with senior development leaders from our existing teams. We eventually realized this model stretched our talent too thin too quickly. It also forced our studio structures to scale to a larger level than we could realistically support, given our two primary products in development, Destiny and Marathon. Additionally, in 2023, our rapid expansion ran headlong into broad economic slowdown, sharp downturn in the games industry, and our quality miss with Destiny 2 Lightfall, and the need to give both the Final Shape and Marathon the time needed to ensure both projects deliver the quality our players expect and deserve. We were overly ambitious, our financial safety margins were subsequently exceeded, and we began running in the red. He just goes on to kind of say this is a challenging time for Bungie. It's a lot to process. They're going to be hosting town hall meetings in the studio to try to help people deal with this. They do mention that they still have 850 team members building Destiny and Marathon, and they will continue to build amazing experiences that exceed our players' expectations. They say that there will be a time to talk about these goals and projects, but today is not the day. Okay. So, Dev, you're a big Destiny fan, obviously. I mean, we'll go with this first. So you're a big Destiny fan. How does this strike you in terms of?
I mean, I'm a big Bungie fan. Like, I love their games. Destiny was really fun, but like the older Halo games, it just sucks to see like a legendary studio like this take a hit.
Yeah. So there is unfortunately more to it. So there's one line in there about deeper integration with Sony, which some people weren't really 100% sure what this meant. Someone asked Jeff Grubb what that means, and Jeff Grubb says Herman Hulst runs Bungie now. So Bungie basically loses its autonomy in the Sony ecosystem. Obviously, when Sony bought Bungie, they were kind of there to help support other studios, which was why they were bought, but they were still going to maintain their independence as long as they didn't, fail, which by the metrics that they're looking at, they've failed. Jeff Grubb goes on to clarify, they also attempted to soften the blow by sending many people from Bungie to SIE instead of just cutting them. He says, I'll put it as far as I know, which isn't everything by a long shot. In time, Bungie will lose its autonomy and will become like any other PlayStation studio under SIE and Herman Hulst. And by in time, I just mean this is a process that is starting now, but it is happening. So that was from Jeff Grubb. Some Destiny content was canceled. It was being reported to be Destiny 3, but apparently it was like a side game called Destiny Payback. That game has been canceled. Jason Schreier says, just to clear up some rumors floating around, Destiny 3 was not canceled because it was never in development, but Bungie did some very early work on a spin-off project called Payback, and that was canceled. And then my last little bit before we kind of discuss it is, I guess I have 2 bits. Which I guess we'll get right into this one. So Bungie will no longer release paid expansions for Destiny 2. In a new report by Jason Schreier, Bungie is no longer planning to release regular paid expansions for the game. Sales of each expansion have continued to fall year over year, leading to a change in approach. Instead of larger expansions, Bungie will do more smaller scale updates. These updates will be released for free and coming with overhauls to activities that it hopes will appeal to the hardcore players. So basically, they are turning into a live service game.
Yeah.
Which me personally,
I mean, they already were, but they're definitely dipping their toes more into like.
Well, again,
the shallow, stuff.
Yeah, they're getting rid of the expansions, which like me personally, I would rather expansions.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Over like small incremental updates. I mean, you like if you think you're losing players now, you're not gonna gain players by like having less content more often. Like it's just at that point you're choosing quantity over quality.
Which makes me wonder. Like,
I think it's a bad move.
Were they not making that much money? Like, I don't know.
Clearly not by some metric. I think we talked about it last year. I think we talked about it here on the podcast. I remember there being some sort of metric. I just don't remember off the top of my head.
They had to be making money, but it's probably not as much. It sucks. I don't know.
Yeah. So coming out of the layoffs, many former Bungie developers are reacting to the layoffs, telling Pete Parsons, whose words we read, hey, step down. On Wednesday, the Destiny developer announced its plans to lay off 220 of its staff, almost 20% of the studio. In the letter published Wednesday, the Destiny creator cited rising costs of development and industry shifts for what it called some of the most difficult changes the studio has had to make. Following the news, several former Bungie employees took to social media to voice their anger at the decision. A large amount of the backlash was directed at Bungie boss Pete Parsons. Quote, "You are a liar, a thief, and so many things we can't discuss publicly," community manager Liana Ruppert alleged on Twitter. "Step down, and without the giant Sony payout. This isn't on Sony. This is squarely on the failure of leadership, plain and simple."
Wow.
You want to react before we go on?
No, I mean...
That's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Griffin Bennett, a former Destiny community manager, added, "Pete is a joke." C-suite taking accountability for any of this, or is it still just withholding bonuses and it'll be settled in-house? Bennett wrote in another post on Twitter. Poor leadership has crushed one of the greatest developers of all time. You should retire, Pete. Well, it just says retire, Pete, but yeah. Sam Bartley, another community manager and community coordinator, wrote, "Coward, you did this. You chose this. I'm already listed as do not work with, and I don't care anymore. You lied to my face, straight to it. You also invited me to come see your new cars 2 days before you laid me off. 2 fucking days. Leave now." The letter. So that was another thing, and I didn't get an article for it, but we were talking about in the Discord where like Pete Parsons, like he spent $2.5 million on cars right before they laid staff off. Previously, I think.
Yeah.
The letter published on Wednesday also announced the studio is working on a new sci-fi action game with PlayStation Studios. For everyone affected by this job reduction, okay, yeah, it's just about the benefits and stuff. Yeah.
There's a lot of layoffs. Bungie still exists.
Yeah.
Do you think with the change of leadership, things could get better?
I think better is subjective. I mean, it depends on how you want to view it. I think at the end of the day, this is the end of Bungie as you know it. Like this is the end of the timeline of the studio that created Halo. Like you could look at it differently, but like it's just Bungie in name at this point. Like it's going to be integrated, it's going to lose its independence as a studio. They're going to report to Herman Hulst, which that doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing. It could mean that Marathon turns out to be fucking amazing, and like I don't want to be acting like I'm negative about Herman Hulst or the job that Sony does with their IP, because obviously, what we talk about here on the show, in my opinion, PlayStation's biggest strength is their software output. Mm-hmm. Obviously they're in a little bit of a rough patch in terms of first party output this year, but like their software is what got them to be where they are right now.
I mean, they didn't want Bungie to fail. They hired Bungie to help them move into like
they
the next
Bungie,
phase of
right.
To move into their next phase of gaming. They get into live games because they
looked at the Bungie model as like, this is a model we need to follow.
Yeah.
I mean, we always do the argument about live service games and how I think that they're not like, I think they're terrible. I think they're one of the biggest problems with games today, which we'll get into that later. Actually, we have a really fun topic. But you always would cite Destiny as kind of like that was your argument. It was like, hey, this is where the model, like I see it, it works.
It's not.
I'm not misquoting you, am I?
No.
Okay.
There are other games too. But
but that was always
Destiny was a pillar in that argument.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's my point. And like I don't know, like will Destiny continue to do well? I mean, clearly it's not doing well. Mm-hmm. Not by the metrics in that.
No, I think with this change, it's going to go downhill more.
Yeah.
It sucks that one person who worked for he's in charge of Bungie. He's the one that sunk the ship. You know what I mean? Like, people want to point fingers at everyone. Like, I think there's an obvious person. It just sucks.
Yeah, it really does.
Because the downfall came from within.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a real shame. Yeah. I mean, what can you say? It fucking sucks. It's just, again, it's not like I don't want to keep making the joke, both because it's in poor taste with people losing their jobs and things getting like going away, but like. Man, does it just feel like video games are... Like, I don't know. I'll have to see. It's not good. It's definitely not. I stand by what I say. Series finale of video games, folks. GTA 6. It's going to come out. Actually, it's going to get delayed, so that way they can put out, like, Elder Scrolls 6. And then they'll probably delay... They'll end it. It'll be over.
We'll see.
Let's move on to more headlines. This is the last, like, real negative one. But I'm gonna kind of fight and say that it's not as negative as some make it out to be. because of the reasoning. So number 3 in the headlines, Avowed has been delayed to February of 2025. Recent reports of an impending delay for an Xbox game have been proven correct. Obsidian Entertainment Xbox Game Studios' upcoming fantasy role-playing game, Avowed, is being delayed out of this year, as confirmed via the official Xbox Twitter account. The tweet goes on to say, "So many games coming. As such, we're moving Avowed to February 18th, 2025 to give players' backlogs some breathing room," the message reads. "Stay tuned for more from our games across Activision, Blizzard, Bethesda, and Xbox Game Studios at Gamescom, including our August 23rd live stream for a look at Avowed." So, this is something that needs to be... so, like, with Avowed being delayed, the rumors coming out from The Verge was that the game was going to be delayed, but not because the game is in bad shape. The game is going to be ready to launch by what was rumored to be a November release date.
Okay.
But the problem is that there's a lot of games coming to Game Pass and Xbox now that they're touting. So obviously Stalker 2 got delayed out of September to November.
Yeah.
So the way Xbox is looking at it, you have Call of Duty, Black Ops 6, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, and now...
you don't want these games coming out, I guess.
So
you don't want them to compete against. You don't want to compete against yourself.
So Xbox on Twitter, they put out this graphic, which you can see here. And so like again, it's like
like Marvel.
Yeah, right. It's like August, World of Warcraft. September 4th, Age of Mythology. Ara, History Untold, September. Diablo, Vessel of Hatred, October. Call of Duty, October. Flight Simulator, November. I didn't even realize. I forgot we had a date for Flight Simulator. Indiana Jones, 2024. Starfield, 2024. Towerborn, 2024. So it's like, I think, and this doesn't even say Stalker, which they've been pushing that as like a big Game Pass title.
Yeah.
I think that they were looking at the realism of the situation, and it was just like, man, like we have all these games coming out in like September through November. Mm-hmm. Just like it sucks, but like push Avowed back. Like I get it, it makes sense. And they gave us a release date for it. They didn't just say 2025, which good on them for that. That's a good call. Because if they had said like, oh, we're delaying Avowed to 2025, we'll give you a release date later.
Yeah. I
think that would have been a really bad look for them. But they were like, hey, it's going to be done. We're just trying to give you guys some breathing room. February 18th, 2025. Which I think is a good spot for Avowed, actually. I think it's going to do Avowed a big favor. Because February is generally a pretty slow time in the gaming calendar. Like, January usually sees like a big release or two. And then like it really ramps up for like March and April. And then we kind of lull back down for the summer. Mm-hmm. But like...
having something
in February makes a lot of sense for Xbox. And keep in mind, they're still touting South of Midnight, Doom the Dark Ages, and Fable all for 2025. And there's going to be a Call of Duty game. And there's going to be probably more coming out of Bethesda and Activision, to be honest. For me, I think that this was a good call for them. I mean, the bad faith actors are going to kind of come out of the woodwork and be like, another Xbox game getting delayed. But I think that the reason behind it is what makes it acceptable. What do you think, Dev?
Yeah, I mean, I understand people being upset as well, but I understand the reason too. So it's fine.
So if you were in charge of Xbox, let's say you're Phil Spencer gets fired because there's a lot of reasons why you could argue Phil Spencer could be fired.
He goes missing.
I love Phil Spencer, but like I mean, he goes missing. You're the president of Xbox, and your number one on your desk is, do you delay Avowed? Keep in mind all those games that we listed there coming 2024. Between September and November. Do you delay Avowed?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would do the same thing. I
just wanted to say.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
It does suck. I understand people being upset. I get it, especially if you're really looking forward to this. I completely get it.
Yeah. No, I mean, I do as well. But it'll be okay. We have plenty of stuff to play. For me, the less things coming out in holiday season, especially with Game Pass, because again, which I just stacked up some 6 months worth of Game Pass today, because the CD Keys had a great deal where it was like $29 for 3 months. I put it in the Discord. I don't know if you saw it.
I didn't see it.
But so I bought 2 3-month subscriptions for $60. So that's half price for, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's going up to 20. I think it's up at 20 right now, and I paid 10 a month for 6 months. So Yeah, I'm fine with it. Like, there's gonna be a lot coming to Game Pass this year that I want to play, and then outside of Game Pass, there's stuff I want to play. So, I mean, I'm okay with it. Speaking of things I want to play this year, Deborah, we got a new trailer this morning for The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom. So this was a 6-minute trailer. Quote, learn about some of the regions you'll visit in Hyrule during your adventure, as well as a few other things that are sure to come in handy, Nintendo said. So one of the first things they show here is the regions in the game, which I love this depiction of Hyrule. Like, I am fucking obsessed with that opening shot with the castle and Death Mountain.
It looks great.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, as a Zelda diehard, I'm fucking obsessed with that.
Yeah.
I love that look of Hyrule. But so they show off some of the other regions, like the Gerudo Desert is back, Elden Volcano, the Theron Wetlands, and then a new area called Jabul Water. And it just kind of shows you around what's happening. And talking about villagers, you have to help the villagers with their problems. It shows that there's like a main quest, side quest tab, kind of similar to Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, which I like that. That's a welcome change in the Zelda games, is the side quest marker tab thing. Mm-hmm. I do like that. Helping people with their troubles is a big part of your journey, the trailer says, and wise heroes are often rewarded for their good deeds. There are various waypoints for fast travel that will help you along your journey. You'll get to access to a horse mount when you get the Carrot Echo, so you get to ride a horse around, which is really cool. Other little things that were shown off, like, it was just cool to see some stuff. So, like, obviously Deku's are back. As a Zelda fan, like, Deku's are back, which is like, holy shit, Deku's are back. Yeah. Like, I don't think... When's the last time we saw Deku's? Like, Majora's Mask? Because they're not in Wind Waker. The Koroks are in Wind Waker. You don't see Twilight. They're not Twilight Princess. Like, we're talking, like, a 20-year absence.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that.
I'd have to maybe look at the DS games and, like, try to think back. But, like, as far as my Zelda fandom knows, like, unless I'm forgetting some glaring omission, like, we have not seen Deku's since Majora's Mask. So I'm very excited to see the Deku's.
Is this the first time that we see both water races in a single game?
I was about to mention that. So it's really cool to me that this is the first time in a Zelda game where they really flesh out. Like, we've always known that there are, like, river Zoras and then, like, regular Zoras, which they call them sea Zoras or ocean Zoras. But, like, this is the first time where it's like, hey, these are two races, sub-races of Zora.
Yeah.
And, like, they've never really made that a thing before. It's just kind of been like, hey, like, in the original Zelda, like, they're river Zoras, and they have the fins on the side, or, like, a Link to the Past Zoras, or the same thing. Where it's like, then you get to Ocarina, it's like, well, why don't these Zoras look like the last Zoras? It's like, that's because there's two Zoras. And guess what? They all evolve into birds. It's just like, oh, okay. Great. Thanks, Nintendo.
But no, I think that's cool, though. Like,
yeah, man, I'm just really excited for this game. It's doing a lot of things for me. I'm very, very pleased with what I'm seeing. Maybe it's also because, I mean, we're going to disagree on this, but obviously I haven't really been a big fan of where Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom took the franchise, and even though, like, the echoes are a new thing, like, this just feels a lot more comfortable to me what I want out of a Zelda game, especially a 2D Zelda game, mind you. So, like, I'm very excited for this. I'm really looking forward to it. Mm-hmm. Launch is September 26th. I'm going to be picking this up. And the Zelda ports, Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, Majora's Mask, never happening. It's never coming out. And you can make smoothies.
You forgot about the smoothies.
So here's the thing about the smoothie thing, right? I gotta say it. The smoothie thing is like, Nintendo always does this. Where it's like, hey, we made this really cool game that you want. Like, oh, okay, great. And they're like, but we have a cool new feature. And I'm like, oh yeah, what is it? It's like, you can make smoothies. Isn't that fun? And I'm like, I'm never going to use this.
You probably will. You don't know that.
I'll make one smoothie and be like, okay.
They're going to be useful. There'll be power-ups.
It's such a Nintendo thing where it's like, hey, here's this cool game. By the way, you can make smoothies in it. It's just like, okay. Great. Thanks.
I don't know about you. I like smoothies.
I'm okay on smoothie. I'm not much of a smoothie guy. I'm more of a, at that point, give me a milkshake or something. Or just drink water. Like, just fucking drink water. It's like, oh, I'm trying to watch my calories or whatever. Like, just drink water.
Smoothies are good, though.
Just drink water.
I like smoothies.
I like water. Drink water. See? Water. Great.
I don't have any smoothies here, but if I had one, I would drink it.
Clearly, you don't like smoothies that much. You don't have any here.
Yeah.
I like water enough. I have water here. Anyways, that's Zelda. I'm excited. Can't wait. Number 5 on the headlines. More good news coming out of Xbox. Actually, we're about to hit a snag of good news coming out of Xbox. Starting with this one. Microsoft and Activision have formed a new team within Blizzard that are going to be working on smaller games based on existing IP. Over the past few weeks, various employees from Microsoft's King subsidiary have updated their LinkedIn profiles to reflect an interesting new career direction. Last year, Microsoft completed its acquisition of Activision Blizzard, as we know. Our sources indicate that Microsoft and Activision have approved the creation of a new team within Blizzard, comprised mostly of employees from King. Blizzard is known for its beloved franchises like Warcraft, StarCraft, Diablo, Overwatch, and Microsoft is keen to curate and serve these franchises more prolifically than Activision itself did previously. Military sci-fi strategy series StarCraft, for example, has been on mothballs since 2017.
Wow.
Yeah, it's 2017. We're talking, what is that, 7 years since the last StarCraft game? That's a huge game.
Yeah, that is a
huge franchise.
Yeah.
And Phil Spencer himself has name-checked StarCraft during interviews about the acquisition in recent years. To that end, Windows Central was told that Microsoft and Activision's new team within Blizzard is tasked to work on smaller games based on existing franchises within the Blizzard universes. Given King's mobile expertise, it's possible that these will be mobile games aimed to support Xbox's planned mobile gaming store for iOS and Android. Although we're not entirely sure that they'll be restricted specifically to mobile. Kind of like Elder Scrolls Blade, how that was a mobile game that came to consoles and PC as well.
Okay.
Given Microsoft's platform agnostic strategy, more on that later, it's possible that any fresh projects could run across all platforms, across those endpoints with Xbox console at its core. But again, we'll talk about that in a little bit. So, Dev, I think this is a really cool idea for Microsoft to kind of focus on a double A studio. I mean, obviously, we see how long AAA games take to make. We see Xbox currently dealing with a terrible problem in terms of the Fallout show being a huge success, and they just don't have a new game ready to go. So I like this idea from Xbox to have Blizzard. I would like to see them do it for more studios, to be honest. Can we get Activision one of these as well? Can we get a Bethesda team where it's like, hey, just make little quirky games in the Fallout universe?
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you. Do you think the players, if I'm a StarCraft fan, do you think I want something StarCraft related that's not StarCraft?
I would say yes.
You think so?
But I think it whets the appetite and makes you if you're making a spin-off StarCraft game, then you also need to make sure you're making a full-on StarCraft game.
Okay.
Again, I think it's a stopgap, and that's for example, we talk about Zelda, that's why the Zelda ports are usually a thing, and the Zelda remakes where it's hey, it takes 6 years to make a Zelda game, but halfway through, here's a Link's Awakening remake, here's a port to the Switch, you still can keep excitement for your IP going while you make a big main product.
Okay.
Sources tell Windows Central that Microsoft is keen to explore and experiment finding success out of smaller teams that are also integrated with the larger organization, almost Nintendo style, for seamless collaboration. It sucks that Ty's not here, because Ty's always asking that question. It's should Xbox be more like PlayStation or like Nintendo? Well, in this move, they're going more of a Nintendo route.
Yeah.
Microsoft and other big publishers are increasingly concerned about the monstrously ballooning costs facing AAA game development, and having studios collaborate more closely is one way Microsoft is exploring reducing costs. Yeah, this is cool. I hope that this leads to some good games. That's the point. Keeping on with the Xbox headlines and the positivity, Xbox fiscal year 24 quarter 4 gaming revenue was up 44% year over year, mostly thanks to Activision Blizzard acquisition.
I saw this, but there's another thing in there. I don't know if it's in that same article.
Mm-hmm.
Their physical sales, the sales of physical.
It might be in this.
It's going down by an insane amount.
All right, Devo. Enough.
Listen, I'm just saying.
Enough.
I'm just saying.
Don't listen to the man over there.
Listen, you're giving the news, right? Why are you withholding half of it?
I would never do that. Anyways, Microsoft shared its financial results for fiscal year 24 quarter 4 last Tuesday, outlining details across the company's divisions and revealing gaming revenue was up 44% year over year. The boost is primarily due to the acquisition of Activision Blizzard King. Xbox content and services revenue is up 61%, mostly but not entirely driven by the acquisition of Activision Blizzard. Meanwhile, Xbox hardware revenue is down 42% year over year. Overall, Microsoft saw $64.7 billion with a B in revenue for the quarter. Revenue.
Wait. 4.7 billion?
64.7 billion.
64.7 billion in revenue.
Yes.
And they paid 70 billion for Activision Blizzard.
Yes.
So they've almost...
In a quarter. In 3 months.
They've already recouped the money.
Okay, cool. So we can go back to like this whole everything's exclusive, right? like there's your return on investment. There's your ROI.
That's insane. They're like, who are we buying next? Like,
speaking on the accompanying earnings call, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella noted that Xbox games have over 500 million monthly active users, while praising the Fallout TV series on Prime Video, pointing to it as an example of using a different medium to expand a gaming franchise's audience, as hours played for Fallout games on Game Pass increased 5 times after the show's launch. Man. So yeah, they're doing big things. Yeah. Now the hardware thing, it is there, and it is factual. I just again, hardware is. I don't think the hardware will ever 100% be gone. Like, no,
I think it'll always be something there. It's just,
well, again, I always look back to
they're selling a ecosystem now. They're not selling a box.
Correct.
Yeah.
The box just happens to be one of the ways you access the ecosystem.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I mean, I agree with what you say. With what you're saying is that like I don't think it'll ever truly go away.
And even if it does, I don't think Xbox dies. Like, I think it can survive in that ecosystem perfectly fine. Yeah. I think people just want a box. Some people want a box on their counter, and I think, yeah, you want a box on your counter.
I'm going to buy these consoles till I'm fucking dead.
But I think once we get to that point where it's streaming and the TVs can do it.
Well, I mean, again, like, and I always kind of look at, like, the great conversations that Jez Corden...
dongle, you know what I mean?
Yeah, Jez Corden at Windows Central has, though. It's just like, hey, look, like, streaming and all that stuff, it takes a lot of energy, and, like, unless there's some sort of, like, historical innovation to how we consume like energy as a species, like he's like it's always going to be that way, and then to that end, the argument for there to be a home console still will always be there, because basically let the customer buy the box and they foot the bill, because like that's what all of the streaming and stuff is, and cloud stuff, like it's just running off a console that's stationed somewhere else. So it's like, if you're Microsoft, and this doesn't just go for Microsoft, like Sony as well, and Nintendo, like, why would you, if someone's willing to pay you for the box and pay the power bill to do it, like, why would you not offer that as an option?
I think because at a certain point, it becomes...
Because then then it's more expensive on them.
But I think that's what I'm saying. Over time, as technology gets better, which it's always doing,
yeah, for sure,
it gets easier and cheaper for them to do it, you know, like...
Perhaps. I mean, again, we're going to have to see, but that is a ways out. But yeah, so Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella describes a 3-pronged gaming approach across console, PC, and mobile. Microsoft shared their Q4 2024 earnings, as we were talking about just now. Buoyed largely by Activision Blizzard and services, Xbox saw its revenue explode by 61%. Which Xbox would have only grown by 4%. So they still would have grown if not for Activision. 4%. But, you know, still would have grown. It's an impressive result in its own right, bucking some industry downturn. That's actually a great point from Windows Central. In a year where, like, everything's kind of trending downward, even if you take Activision out of Xbox, they still would have grown. So, that's...
I would have to imagine all 3 of the studios have grown, in a weird way.
I think Nintendo's gone down.
You think?
I think they just put out their fiscal year, which is why I don't know why I don't have the results, but they've actually they've actually
like to see that,
they've went down year over year, because last year they had the Mario movie, they had Tears of the Kingdom, and so this year they don't have those things, so they're down.
Okay,
and then obviously the Switch is now practically ancient.
But I mean, like
it's like 9 years old now.
Yeah, but like what a goodbye the Switch is getting. You know
so this year I saw a stat that Breath of the Wild, and take a grain of salt because I don't have the source in front of me. Apparently, Breath of the Wild sold more new copies last year, or no, this year, than Tears of the Kingdom did.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that weird?
That is weird. I guess, yeah, it is weird. People want to get back into the first one before they play the second one, maybe?
Or, like, people who haven't played it yet are like, oh,
you might as well jump in.
It's like, hey, the Switch is about to die. Let's find out what this Zelda game's about.
Yeah.
Anyways, speaking to analysts during yesterday's earning call, Satya Nadella described Xbox's evolving strategy, while noting that console still remains at the core of the operation. For us, our investment in gaming fundamentally was to have, I would say, the right portfolio of both what we love about gaming and have always loved about gaming, which is Xbox and the content for the console, and expand from that so that we have content for everywhere people play games, starting with the PC. Elaborating further, Satya reiterated that Activision was primarily about expanding Xbox's footprint beyond console to mobile and PC, specifically where Xbox has traditionally struggled. Activision has games like Hearthstone, Diablo, Immortal, Candy Crush Saga under its belt, making it something of a mobile powerhouse. So when I think about the Activision portfolio, it comes with great assets for us to cover both the PC and the console. And then, of course, assets to cover mobile sockets, which we never have had. So we feel that we have both the content and the ability to access all the traditional high-scale platforms where people play games, which is console, PC, and mobile. But we're also excited about these new sockets, right? Nadella reminded investors that Xbox had just expanded its cloud gaming platform to the Amazon Fire TV Stick 4K devices, which allows people to get into Xbox ecosystem for just $50 up front. So yeah, this was basically just Satya Nadella kind of reiterating. It's like, hey, like we view it as a multi-pronged approach where it's like console, PC, mobile. Eventually, he's gonna say cloud. Like it's growing. It's not there yet, but for right now, that's what he's saying. And I mean, it makes sense to just have all these entryways to the ecosystem. However you get people in. So
yeah.
All right. Next up in the headlines is number 8, Star Wars. The Outlaws has its roadmap. Ahead of the game's release this month, Ubisoft has revealed the full post-launch roadmap for Outlaws. The roadmap includes what will be available in Star Wars Outlaws at launch, as well as 2 story expansion windows for the game. Those who own the game's Season Pass will get the Kessel Runner character pack, as well as the Jabba's Gambit mission at launch. After that, Star Wars Outlaws will receive its first story expansion called Wildcard in the fall. They'll also get two new cosmetic bundles called Hunter's Legacy and Cartel Ronin. Moving into 2025, there will be a second story expansion called The Pirate's Fortune. That's slated to arrive in spring of next year. Details on each story expansion can be found below. Oh, wow, I actually didn't read this far ahead before. So we actually have the synopsis a little bit. For Wildcard, Kay is hired to infiltrate a high-stakes sabacc tournament, which is like the card game in that world. Mm-hmm. But as she crosses paths with a notorious gambler, Lando Calrissian, she soon learns that another game is being played. When the first story pack is released, Season Pass owners will also get the Hunter's Legacy bundle and Cartel Ronin bundle. And then for A Pirate's Fortune, it just says, the Trailblazer's reputation precedes Kay as she runs into a veteran pirate, Hondo Onoka. That name sounds really familiar, and I'm pretty sure that's an established Star Wars character. Okay. Who's looking to settle old scores with a ruthless gang of pirates. Star Wars Outlaws launches on August 30th. How excited are you for Star Wars Outlaws?
Very excited. I don't know. An open world Star Wars game just sounds fun.
Mm-hmm.
With like different worlds and like that alone, you got me sold.
So I got to give Ubisoft credit. They have such a hell of a 1-2 punch this year for me, where it's like I'm gonna be getting Star Wars, and I'm very excited for Star Wars, and then I'm gonna be playing Assassin's Creed, and I'm very excited for Assassin's Creed. So my hat's off to them, because that is what you call a hell of a 2024 for a non-platform.
Yeah.
Like Xbox is gonna have a really great holiday season too. You know what I mean? And like,
I was gonna say, I think it's funny that like people who play both this and their Avatar game that they did are just saying like, hey, these are just reskins of games they've already done. And it's like, yeah, but this is what we want. Like, they know what they're good at, and like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's very Star Warsy, like the game.
Oh yeah, well it's Star Wars. Yeah.
They do a good job at it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Next up in the headlines, Fallout New Vegas developer Obsidian is working on an unannounced title. As spotted by fans via Reddit, the updated LinkedIn page for veteran art director Daniel Kabuko reveals that Obsidian is apparently working on another unannounced title. Kabuko's profile now lists their new position as art director on unannounced title at Obsidian, dated for July 2024. However, there were no further details about the nature of the project itself. Obsidian previously has worked on titles such as Fallout, Pentiment, Grounded, and The Outer Worlds. The developer is also working on Avowed, not expected, we now know, February 18th, 2025. Okay. Fans speculate this might be a Fallout New Vegas sequel.
I would assume so.
I would also assume so. Obsidian, man, like, the thing about Obsidian is, look, I know we can look at Bethesda, but, like, at the end of the day, when Xbox started, like, acquiring these studios to build their portfolio, Obsidian has been one of their most key developers since this all has went down. Yeah. Like, they have just really been there, and, like, obviously Avowed is going to be, like, their really first, like, big title. They
haven't really missed.
No, they haven't missed since Xbox bought them. They're one of the few studios that, like, you know, like, they're just putting out great games. Grounded was great. Mm-hmm. Pentiment was great. Like, it might not have been widespread appeal, but, like, they're putting out great games.
Across, different genres. Like you said, Pentiment, Grounded.
Outer Worlds was great. Outer Worlds came out, like, I think right around when they bought them. So it's like, do you count it? I mean, like, I do, just because it's still part of the portfolio.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, like, it's really awesome. So I'm sure that whatever Obsidian's working on right now, they just don't seem to miss. So definitely get the benefit of the doubt on that. Give me another Fallout New Vegas.
I mean, Fallout's on the rise with that show. The show, like, breathes life into the series, so
you never know. We'll see. Number 10 on the headlines. Call of Duty leaks happened all this past week on Twitter, Devereaux. I've seen gameplay.
Oh, you see? I wasn't expecting that.
I've seen gameplay of the multiplayer.
Was this a hack? Do you have?
I don't know if this article says it, but basically it happened via PlayStation servers, of course. Sony definitely was like, fuck them. Fuck those guys. But no, apparently so the footage that's leaked was beta footage. So, because the beta starts in like a few weeks.
Okay.
So the beta files were basically accessed via PlayStation, and so that's how we saw multiplayer. Looks really good. I mean, it was very limited, but I've seen it. Looks good. I'm excited for it.
It was gameplay of Warzone, right? Specifically.
So no, we're gonna get into the Warzone leak now.
Okay. Well, this was.
But I'm talking like just Black Ops 6 multiplayer.
Okay.
Again, looks good.
All right.
But we'll be seeing more of that with Call of Duty next later this month. But recently, a slew of leaks revealed countless tidbits about Black Ops 6, including maps, modes, kill streaks, movement mechanics, and more. The game, which is set to be released in October, has been blown wide open by these leaks, but Activision is hot on the heels of those sharing images online, issuing strikes against them and taking the clips and pictures down from social media sites. Not fast enough, because I saw some of it. One particular leak has fans excited was a screenshot taken on what is obviously a Warzone map. This image, which is now pulled by Activision, so it's not on the article anymore, shows Avalon, the Warzone map that's going to be coming later in 2025. But Verdansk is coming first. That is the original Warzone map. A map that I don't remember liking very much, but we'll see how
it's pretty popular still.
So here's the thing, right? Me and Warzone players, we don't get along, because I think that when Warzone came out,
you liked it in the beginning, right?
Like in the very beginning, but the problem is that like I loved Blackout, which was Call of Duty Black Ops 4's Battle Royale mode, and it was much more tactical. And I feel like with Warzone, my biggest issue with Warzone is it always just felt like they just took multiplayer and put it in a Battle Royale setting. Like, it didn't feel like it was tailor-made for Battle Royale like Blackout was. And so, like, for me, Warzone has always just been kind of disappointing. I haven't really enjoyed my time with it much over the years.
That sucks.
It does suck. But, I mean, I want to get back into it. I'm very excited for Black Ops 6, and I'm kind of hoping that maybe it can kind of rejuvenate me. I'm saving $70 because it's on Game Pass. I mean, Warzone's always been free, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The Call of Duty package in general. For me, when I dive into Call of Duty, that's when I dive into Warzone. Like, I'm not playing Warzone out of turn. Like, you know what I mean? Like, when it's time for Call of Duty, I'm playing all of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. I'm excited. Looking forward to it. We'll see what happens. I'm definitely excited for the campaign multiplayer and zombies, though. But maybe Warzone will impress me. I really hope so. Okay. I want to love Warzone. I really do. I love Battle Royale. I loved Blackout. I loved Call of Duty Battle Royale. Hopefully they can kind of bring me back. But we'll see.
And if not, I guess you just have GTA 6. I mean, GTA 6.
The last game.
You have Blackout.
It's like, yeah.
You know,
Well, I'm waiting for it to hit.
Black
I'm
Ops
waiting
and-
for it to hit Game Pass, so that way it gets more player counts.
Okay.
Like, you gotta boost those numbers up.
Yeah.
But anyways, next up in the headlines, Sony's God of War studio is working on new IP. That's according to the LinkedIn. A lot of LinkedIn stories today. The LinkedIn profile of Glauco Longhee, who rejoined the Sony studio early this year to oversee character development on the unannounced project. Longhee first worked for Sony as a senior character artist on Uncharted 4 at Naughty Dog before taking the same role at Sony Santa Monica's God of War reboot in 2016. He then served as the lead character artist on Ragnarok before leaving the company to join the Callisto Protocol developer, Striking Distance Studios. Well, he's not there anymore, I'll tell you that much. Ugh. Studio closure joke.
Yeah.
It's not funny. But
well, it's exciting for them to be working on something new, you know?
yeah. I'm actually kind of surprised. I thought they'd still be working on God of War.
I think...
Or maybe this might be the game after the next God of War, maybe.
Oh, that's true. It could be...
this could, like, again, this is art. This is an art, like an artist. Like, that's like some of the first people that are working on these games is like, hey, you got to, like, make concepts and stuff like that. So, you know. Next up, Devereaux, it's finally happened. Number 12, Pokemon on the NSO.
Aren't you happy? Aren't you happy? Uh-oh.
No.
What is Pokemon on the NSO? What do you mean? You've been waiting for this. You've been waiting for this day.
Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Red Rescue Team will be coming to the GBA library on August 9th. The game, which was released alongside Blue Rescue Team on the DS and was the last ever official Game Boy Advance title, is the first title in the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon series of roguelike games. Look, okay. I love Pokemon Fire. Like, I love Mystery Dungeon. I do. I really love Red Rescue Team. Like, I love this game. This is a fantastic game. I'm definitely going to be checking it out. Honestly, this might be what I play when I'm on my vacation. Like, because I'm going to be on the go. It's one of the very few times where the Switch is undocked. But this will be a perfect title for me to play next week while I'm in Delaware and Atlantic City, in my downtime. Totally could be something that I could see myself doing. That being said, I think this is just a fucking sick joke to them. Like, I don't understand how this game comes out before the mainline Pokemon games. I don't understand it.
I don't have the
It
answer.
drives me insane because, like, there's no official way to support these games.
Yeah.
There's no official way to buy red, blue, yellow, gold, silver, crystal, ruby, emerald, sapphire, diamond, pearl, except for the shitty remakes. Like black, white, black 2, white 2. Like, none of them. None of them.
You're not getting them anywhere.
There's no way to, except I'm about to get murdered by the Nintendo Ninja, except for piracy. There's no way. Boo. There's no way, man. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Like, here's what I'm going to say. It's never happening. The Pokemon mainline games are never coming to the Nintendo NSO. It'll never happen. The year will be 2060. Pokemon Red will be outlawed by the new Nintendo governments. But we'll still be getting this shit. Which, again, I don't want to take away from it. It's a great game. It really is. But, like, why this? Devereaux, do you have any idea why this? Can you, like, obviously it's impossible to speculate Nintendo and why Nintendo is the way it is.
Yeah.
I would like for you, while I drink some water, to make an attempt to explain why Nintendo would put this game on the NSO and not say, like fuck even like a huge drop. Let's just say Gen 1. What's the argument for not putting like Fire Red and Leaf Green on the GBA thing over this? Go ahead. Just try. Give it a shot. Give it the old college try. You know.
Well, I think Nintendo, they really like doing like big events and anniversaries. So I think they're just waiting on an anniversary. That's all. So at the 50th anniversary of Pokemon Red Blue, we'll get them on the Switch.
The 50th. You know what's sad? You're probably right. You're probably 100% right. Oh God.
That's all. We just gotta wait for that's not even that.
So my theory, I have a theory. My theory is, I feel like every September they always do a pretty decently sized NSO drop, and it's because it was back in September when the NSO first launched. So those people that get those yearly recurring subscriptions, like me, they re-up in September. So I wonder if that's the plan, where it's come September, we're fucking dropping we're dropping Pokemon Gens 1 through 3.
That's genius. I mean,
and I'm like, here you go.
Yeah.
It's all right, you're red. You're wearing red, so you're gonna be Nintendo. Here you go. But.
Nope.
Cards, money, currency.
We don't keep playing our games. What? You fool.
All right, well, that's Nintendo. and scene. There you go.
It's no, but we're gonna add Pokemon Pinball to the NSO. That's coming.
That's gonna be the September drop.
Yeah, that's how they get people.
They're just a bunch of sickos. They're just a bunch of sick people, just playing games with people, but not the games they want to play.
No.
Not the games they want to play. Let's move on. Number 13 on the headlines. Xbox is going to Gamescom. Xbox is going to be returning to Gamescom with over 50 titles to check out at their booth.
Nice.
The booth will include a theater, photo ops, a gear store, and more. I'm not going to go into too much detail. If you want to know what Xbox is doing at Gamescom, you should check out their website. But attendees will get to go on hands-on with Age of Mythology Retold, Ara History Untold, Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred, Fallout 76 Milepost Zero, Elder Scrolls Online Gold Road, Towerborn. There's going to be exclusive theater presentations for Avowed, Indiana Jones, and Starfield Shattered Space. Blizzard Entertainment is going to be joining the Xbox booth with Diablo and World of Warcraft is there. The Vessel of Hatred expansion for Diablo, and the War Within for World of Warcraft will be at the booth. What else? The Xbox booth will have playable titles from third-party partners, including Star Wars Outlaws, Space Marine 2, Atomfall, which I'm very excited for Atomfall, the return of Stalker 2, so we're going to see that as well. They're going to have live streams. They're going to be also hosting the Squirrel with a Gun game, Noodle Cake's Winter Burrow, Creatures of Ava, which comes out this week actually. They're going to have a bunch of stuff. Game Pass, tokens. Now, Aaron Greenberg from Xbox has also teased. He said, make sure you watch Jeff Keighley's E3 in Germany, the Summer Games Fest in Germany, which is the opening night live for Gamescom.
Okay.
So, assuming based off, obviously Aaron Greenberg saying that, you would assume we're going to get some sort of Xbox news at that showcase, which I'm excited for.
Yeah.
Xbox is going to have a big presence at Gamescom. Get excited. Number 14. We got an update on the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, which, again, I loved. You want to talk about people caring about the IP.
That's another
You
one.
definitely see that with... I want to show you that movie. It's a really good movie. As spotted by Games Radar, film actor Matthew Lillard, who's in the movie, gave fans a major update during a new interview, teasing that filming on the new Five Nights at Freddy's 2 movie could begin in October. Lillard appeared on YouTube on the channel for JB and Millie for an interview, briefly spoke about his availability. He stated he's doing a TV show right now and then doing FNAF in October. And then there was another tease. In a recent post, it was also revealed a production image for the anticipated sequel. The post has fans speculating on what a mysterious character could be, which is right here.
Okay.
So they're working on something. They're cooking. Fans identify the character as Toy Bonnie, opening the door for a lot of potential story beats, which in Five Nights at Freddy's, if you don't know about the story, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of stories that can be told.
Yeah.
Do you know like the story of Five Nights at Freddy's? Like how versed are you?
It's been told to me, and it goes in one ear and out the other. Yeah.
It's a lot. There's a lot of lore.
Yeah.
You want to talk about
I've
lore?
heard it.
This is a lore ass game, which I like lore, so I'm all about it.
It gets a bit ridiculous though, but I don't know. I still like the core lore. Like, when are they gonna open up a restaurant?
That's what I'm saying. We got to get a Five Nights at Freddy's like pizzeria.
Yeah,
I will absolutely
bring back that animatronics on stage. I think kids would go to it too.
Oh, absolutely. Everybody would love it.
Yeah.
I would I don't know why they haven't done it, to be honest.
Chuck E. Cheese died, but you can bring it back.
But that's why you bring it back, because there's you're unopposed in the market.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But I'm excited for that. Look forward to it.
I'll probably watch the first one at some point.
I'll watch it with you. I have it on Blu-ray.
Okay.
4K Blu-ray. That. Next up on the headlines, Valorant Shadow dropped for consoles last week. It's out now, so go check it out. If you're playing the Xbox version, it is actually the ideal way to play on console. As Game Pass, well, let me rephrase that. If you're a Game Pass member, it is the best place to play.
Oh yeah, because it comes with
everything.
Yeah.
So basically,
I forgot about that.
let me see. Xbox. It'd be nice if they had a bullet point on this article, because I wasn't going to read the whole article. Basically, you get all the characters unlocked at launch. Mm-hmm. So like they're all there. You go like I played like a couple games.
Okay.
I'd like to play it with friends. I enjoyed it enough, but the problem was I don't know all the characters' abilities. So like I was kind of like playing it as a shooter.
That is like the fun part of it, is trying out different characters and finding out who you like and who you don't like.
Yeah.
With hero shooters. So
so I was trying that, and I didn't get far enough where I started to learn things really. Mainly because I'm trying to finish Octopath Traveler.
Yeah.
But
you tried it out. And...
Yeah, no, it was fun. I enjoyed it. It's a good shooter. As someone who's never played it, I enjoyed it. I did pretty well in the few games I played, but again, I just didn't take that leap to the top of the leaderboards because I just don't know the characters or what they do.
Yeah, you just...
But it's enjoyable. But yeah, if you have Game Pass, I'm gonna see if hold on, is this link gonna take me to it? Yeah, so basically it gets all of the characters and all the upcoming characters.
DLC like maps and all that fun
You
stuff.
get everything, yeah. Well, like I think the characters you have to unlock, the agents. Yeah, so it's like if you have Xbox Game Pass, all agents will be unlocked for you day one. You'll also unlock new agents when they come out. So the minute they go live, you unlock them.
Okay.
So basically, if you have Game Pass, you get everything in this live service game.
That's cool.
I think that's amazing. I think it's great.
That's smart on Valorant's part too.
Yeah, Riot Games. Yeah. So yeah, it's out now. If you have Xbox Game Pass, go check it out. Go be overwhelmed like I was when I opened up the character screen and I was like, I don't know who to pick. It was stressful.
I think if you're Microsoft, you do the same approach with, because they have Activision now. You do the same approach with like Overwatch and like.
Oh yeah, I think you absolutely should.
Your own Game Pass, you get all the characters, maps, whatever.
Yeah, it's like, hey, they said they couldn't put exclusive content on Call of Duty.
Yeah,
nothing about Overwatch.
Yeah, have Xbox exclusive skins for sure.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Next up on the headlines, Devro, Twitch is not making money. Twitch is arguably the #1 streaming platform in the world, boasting millions of users and reported annual revenue of $2 billion, but it's still not profitable.
I don't believe that. I'm going to be completely honest.
Well, maybe I'll change your mind. In 2014, Amazon acquired the streaming platform for around $1 billion, but more than 10 years after that sweeping purchase, it has been revealed that the tech titan Amazon still isn't making any money from the streaming site. The news came from a Wall Street Journal report that discussed Amazon's failure to make money through Twitch after more than 10 years of owning and supporting the platform. The cost of running the site through Amazon's infrastructure means that the firm has failed to ever profit from the streaming platform, despite it pulling in a reported $2 billion a year. So it's making $2 billion a year, and it's not making any money, any profit.
Does it cost that much to keep it operational? Like,
and there's ads on Twitch too.
Yeah, there's ads. People pay. To streamers, and they get a cut of that. Like, people are making millions of dollars
in the report published in Wall Street Journal, it was claimed that fewer users are signing up to Twitch, and the biggest spenders are neglecting to pump the site with money. In recent months, Twitch has suffered from widespread layoffs as Amazon has attempted to pivot to adjust to new financial woes that have struck much of the wider industry. And per Dexeroto, insiders are concerned that another wave of layoffs is on the horizon. It's also claimed by those close to Twitch. I like how it's like as if it's a person. Those close to Twitch.
Yeah.
Just say people in the company.
Yeah.
Close to Twitch that several projects have been canceled or postponed internally because there isn't any hunger or budget to float them. With rising competition in the form of YouTube and Kick, and constant complaints from the community about changes to Twitch, the top-tier streaming site could be about to pass a point of no return. Devereaux, will Twitch die? It will. I'm telling you right now, it will. Everything is dying. The industry is dead.
But
it's like
But they're saying
no pulse.
Kick and
it's
YouTube
dead. It's
are
over.
on the rise.
Well, I think YouTube is really
Kick is kind of, from what I've heard about Kick, it sounds like it's a cesspool, and YouTube.
I've heard it's really bad. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think YouTube doesn't have the same. It's not the best.
Hold on. We love YouTube.
They're not paying us. What do you like?
They might someday.
I'm just saying, but
no, I know.
But I feel like Twitch has been built better for streaming. You know what I mean?
I agree.
And I think YouTube is getting to that point.
Yeah, I would definitely. So, as someone who is a content creator on YouTube,
I'm glad we're on YouTube.
Primarily as a streamer. Obviously, we do the Broken Tables podcast. Jeff and I have been doing that for like 3 years at this point. God, it's been like 3 years, 3 years.
And YouTube is easily my most used app.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. YouTube. That's the thing. I pay for YouTube Premium, and I told you when we were on our way to Deadpool and Wolverine, it is the best streaming service, or is the best subscription service, because it's like YouTube. It's YouTube. It's like it's unfiltered. Well, you know what I mean. Yeah. It's unlimited YouTube. It's like I can close my phone. I can watch multiple things. Like it picks up where I leave off. It no ads.
Even as someone who doesn't
YouTube is fighting ad blockers now. I've heard.
Oh yeah, they've been doing it.
Well, it's like apparently now it's like you'll get like 30 seconds of black screen if you use an ad blocker.
It's not.
I don't know. Whatever. It's just something I read.
No, it is. They are doing that, but like, it's hard to. Every time they do something, ad block updates too. So it's like, it's tricky.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, for me, I think YouTube is a great platform. I'm not just saying that because we do it on here, because again, we're not making any money right now. So, we can say whatever we want, but yeah, like I like YouTube as a platform personally. Mm-hmm. I like it over Twitch. That's just me, but that's just kind of how I consume content is much more suited. YouTube is much more suited to me.
Like even when I have favorite streamers. I like 39 Daff. I like I'm Dante. Mm-hmm. But I watch their content on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
I don't watch their content.
Like Barry Kramer, former Game Grump. Love Barry stuff. I'm watching Barry play Paper Mario 1,000 Year Door right now. I watch 7-hour YouTube videos because it's his Twitch streams on demand. Yeah. But like, yeah, I don't go on Twitch. The only time I really go on Twitch is like when Zelda Dungeon does their Zelda Marathon in June, because for some reason they're stubborn and don't put it on YouTube, which is like the dumbest fucking thing. Zelda Dungeon, get better, like stupid. But so I mean, yeah, outside of that, I never go on Twitch. Like I used to go on Twitch when like the live streams were like the press conferences, the Xbox showcases were on Twitch, and they were on YouTube, but now they're on YouTube. Yeah. So it's like, okay, I'm not going to Twitch.
Yeah.
Twitch doesn't even work as well as YouTube. Like YouTube is like less fuzzy, it's better quality.
Like with the ads and people just pumping money into like paying streamers and gifting streamers and all that. That's crazy.
Yeah, well, we'll see if Twitch survives. Speaking of streamers, Devereaux, Dr. Disrespect, he rode off into the sunset. And then he was like, oh, I left my hat back there. He's back. He's back, Dev. Despite sentiments that he was perhaps going to ride off into the sunset, shortly before he admitted to pulling a Drake.
Damn, that's what they're calling it too.
Dr. Disrespect is back. The streamer posted a photo on Twitter of him in front of a chessboard, where he has chess pieces and his unseen opponent has checkers.
Yeah, it was such a cringy...
Then he replied to a few detractors with insults. It's the first time he's re-emerged in over a month since the reason for his ban was exposed.
Oh yeah, he commented on the beef. Yeah.
And it's bit surreal. This comeback post sits right on top of his admission post from June 25th.
That's great.
So it's his admission post, and then his very next post is, "I'm back. I'm playing chess. You're playing checkers, suckers." Can you whistle not like us? While I'm reading, just keep going. They were reporting ahead of the statement that this was the reason for his ban. Oh wait, hold on. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. We know why. We've talked about it at length. Mm-hmm. If Ty was here, he'd probably stop watching. It's a pretty unsettling situation to see many people welcoming Dr. Disrespect back, as this chess checkers photo has over 90,000 likes and thousands of comments of support. It also has the number of ratios reminding him and everyone of what he admitted to. Again, this is not a Donald Trump situation where he's simply denying everything he's been accused of. He has flat out admitted to inappropriately pulling a Drake. Supporting him after that means you simply don't care about that.
It's crazy because here, like when I saw so many people defending him, I was like, oh, he's gonna be fine when he comes.
So back. This is from Forbes, Paul Tassi, and Paul Tassi says he sees a lot of justifications like, quote, I am not saying this. Quote, well, 17 isn't so bad.
Make sure you cut that out of context.
Oh, no. It's all over for me. I'm done.
That's insane.
I've seen people trying to divorce the man from the character. So Paul Tassi saying he sees a lot of justifiers try to separate the guy from the character. As Dr. Disrespect didn't text a minor. That's like, you fucking idiots. Yeah. You fucking dummies. As for Doc himself, he's back in character, not apologizing, which he also did not do in his admission post. He seems determined to hit the gas and attempt to blast his way through all this, presumably to return to streaming, and likely continue to attract some measure of an audience. Judging by the response of his return, it'll probably work, unfortunately. It's unclear if the current platform YouTube will have anything to say about this. Controversial streaming site Kick seemed ambient about recruiting him during this chaos, and that was even before his admission. Kick was like, we would love to have you, Doc. He's like, I pulled a Drake. Still love to have you.
Yeah, as I told you.
It's like, just stop talking.
They're a cesspool.
No, yeah, they're terrible. Man, could you imagine supporting that? Like, fucking disgusting, man. Just terrible. So, hopefully that's the last time we ever talk about Dr. Disrespect.
It won't be.
Number 18 on the headlines. A really interesting announcement here. And I'm not going to lie to you. I have no idea what this is, even after reading this press release, which I read like 3 times. Mm-hmm. NFL Primetime Fantasy. Ubisoft is launching a next-generation fantasy football experience. Announced on Thursday by Ubisoft in collaboration with the NFL and the NFL Player Association, this mobile app will immerse fans and their friends in the heart-pounding action of NFL games. Users will be able to make decisions as the live game unfolds, both during the regular season and the playoffs.
It sounds really cool. Like I
would love to try to get you back into it because I know you tried fantasy football a couple of years ago and you just didn't. It didn't click with you.
Yeah,
I would love to get you back into it.
Even as someone who's not into it, it's like wherever my imagination is taking me, it sounds really cool.
Yeah, it's like okay. If I ask you, like, well, what is it? What is it?
I have no idea. It's like,
is it just fantasy football? Is it just fantasy football, or like is there like presentation?
I just imagine, like, football players climbing a tower and jumping into hay once they get to the top in full football gear, running around tackling people. Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, so like, we don't know. We don't know what it is, but it is a game. Well, it's an app. It says dive into the NFL action real time. Choosing the right roster, predicting pivotal moments, and tapping into your sports instincts. Every move helps you climb the NFL Primetime Fantasy leaderboard. You can even teach your friends a thing or two about football while you're at it. Gamifying real-time stats represents both a challenge and a golden opportunity for Ubisoft, remarks Eric Gallant. Yeah, I mean, like, what does that mean?
It sounds like
gamifying real-time stats.
It sounds like it's going to be like the casino effect on your phone, seeing the stats and like seeing points.
Oh, like you see like an animated of that character or of that player
touchdown and your phone explodes. Like, you know what I mean? Like the UI explosion was like 10 points or like whatever it is.
Yeah,
I don't know.
This will debut in the 2024 regular season.
Awesome.
So we're gonna get into it with test phases coming soon. Oh, click here to pre-register. I actually gotta do that. Hold on. I'm gonna do that. We're gonna do that live. I'm gonna pre-register right now, and then I'll
post it in the Discord, I guess.
Yeah, I'll do this after the show. Actually, I'm not gonna do it live. That would be a bad idea. Number 19, Palworld devs have Palworld dev has an interesting take, Dev, and I would like to hear your thoughts on it. He says playing the same game all the time is not healthy for players or the industry. Speaking to Going Indie, YouTube channel, the game's community manager John Buckley, better known to players as Bucky, responded to claims that Palworld is a dead game because its daily peak concurrent player is now around 60,000. What a flash in the pan. Rather than more than 2 million that it had at launch. Buckley argued that the game was never designed to be played forever and that doing so serves no purpose to players. According to Buckley, if players continue to play the same title, it will enforce the belief among publishers and developers that more live service games are the way forward, diluting the market. I don't think you need to be pushing yourself to play the same game all the time, Bucky said. It's not healthy for us, it's not healthy for developers, it's not healthy for gamers. It's not healthy for the gaming media. And it's not healthy for our industry. Because the more we push this kind of narrative, the more very large companies are going to just say, gamers want more live service. And we're going to get more of these soulless live service games that come out and then get shut down 9 to 12 months later because they're not making enough money. And then we all lose in that case. Instead, Bucky said players should play a wider variety of games, especially indie games, to focus more on having fun than committing to a single game, even like Palworld. He says, play all the indies you can, spend as much money on indies as you can, really support the guides who are trying to make fun games. Who cares if there's only 5 people playing it? Just enjoy yourself. Enjoy games. I don't think it needs to be any more complex than that. This isn't Bucky's first time responding to discourse about Palworld's dropping player count by encouraging players to broaden their horizons. Back in February, Bucky advised fans to try playing other games while they wait for Palworld content updates, saying a drop in players is entirely fine because Palworld isn't the sort of game designed to regularly give players new content. He says there are so many new amazing games out there to play. He said at the time, you don't need to feel guilty about hopping from game to game. If you're still playing Palworld, we love you. If you're no longer playing Palworld, we still love you, and we hope you'll come back for round 2 when you're ready. Play lots of games, try different genres, and frequently flick through indie libraries to find hidden gems. I couldn't have said it better myself. 100% agree. Bucky, you're the man.
I don't 100% agree.
100% agree. It's like, oh, Mr. Live Service over here is like, no, I want to play. I want to play the same game for 5 years, man.
No, but if I do,
I think
why does that matter?
I think that's one of the biggest reasons why the industry is in the bad shape that it's in terms of
let people play whatever they want.
In terms of creative content, I agree.
Let people play. No one's forcing you to play a game. When a game comes out, if you want to play that game for 7 years, there are people who do that with like World of Warcraft or like Call of Duty, or if you want to play just that game for 7 years,
they don't play the same Call of Duty for 7 years.
You know what I mean? Like the same.
It's a different game. It's a different game, but it's a new game.
Okay, but if it's the same game, if it's Minecraft, if you just play Minecraft, if you just play World of Warcraft, if you just play whatever it is, let people play the game they want to play.
Deborah, why are you telling people how to live?
I'm not. I'm telling
them to go play more games. They're just like, no.
Maybe
play
they
one
don't
game.
want to though. Like it's like.
That sounds like gaslighting.
No, but it's like
it sounds like you're gaslighting.
You make your game. Put it out there. You have 60,000 people playing. To me, that sounds like a big number. I can't compare with anything else. 60,000 concurrent players sounds like a lot to me.
I mean, it's not bad.
Yeah, that's great.
It's a good amount for the fact that the game came out.
And me personally, and I think you personally, because we both play a variety of games. Why we like everything he said. I don't think there's anything wrong with like building a game that people want to play like all the time. I just don't. There are people who only play Fortnite, and it's like
you don't have to gaslight people. We get it.
No, be okay. Let people play if they want to play your game for 7 years. Like let them. I don't get why you're trying to make them feel bad for playing the same game.
So I have a hot take. I mean, I think that
like for example, your wife mainly plays Stardew Valley. She's been playing Stardew Valley for years. She's beaten the game. She just told me how she beat the game, and like if that's the only game she wants to play, like okay, good. Like,
so here's the problem though, right? And like I get what you're saying. And I don't disagree. And I think people should play the games they want to play, and they should play them for how long they want to play them.
Yeah.
But I think Bucky is also correct. Both things can be true, where I think these games that are designed for people to never leave them and just keep playing them, these live service games, I do think it hurts the industry overall. I think Bucky is really onto something with that, and I think he's correct. Now, does that mean that
I think
we should tell people how to play games? But remember that report that we talked about?
Even he said. Go ahead.
Remember that report we talked about? Like it was like 3 months ago, where it's like the top 5 games of the last year are all games that have been out for more than 6 years. It was like GTA Online and Roblox and Fortnite, and like those games have caused stagnation in the games industry. I mean, maybe not in the indie scene, but I think when you look at the AAA scene and even the AA scene at large, I think you're seeing a lot of chasing of these. They want to be the next, not Palworld. They want to be the next of those like Roblox or Fortnites, and like you're causing stagnation in the games industry because instead of making a game that you want to make, you have the companies, the corporations like, well, we can't just make any old game. It has to be a game that people are going to play for the next 10 years. It's got to be the next Destiny. And like
no, but
I think that that's where Bucky's coming from, and I think that he's right.
No, because again, like we saw just on the Game Awards, it was like in the top 10 best-selling games, 8 of them were indie games. Like again, people are gonna play good games.
That was just Jeff's.
No, but they were though. But they were. The reason he focused on indie games is because hey, out of the top 10 games right now, 8 of them are indie games. Like it's people are gonna play the games that they want to play regardless. It doesn't. When GTA comes out, people are going to play GTA 6 probably only. People are still playing. There are people out there who only play GTA 5. Like, there's a whole role-playing scene. And it's like, if that's the game that they want to play, it's fine. Look at Kill the Justice League. Just because you make a live service game, just because you make a game that's supposed to last,
yeah, for sure.
The game still has to be good. Mm-hmm. And if you can make a game that... Like Fortnite. If you can make a Fortnite game, make it. Let people... People... like living in worlds sometimes. I think it's...
So 2 points. So number one, you saying that Jeff Keighley like chose all those indie games. I personally don't think that's the case.
But he said it. He showed it, and it was true.
Yeah, it ended up being true. But I think if you ask Jeff Keighley, if Jeff Keighley's planning his Summer Games Fest, I think he would much rather have all the big bangers. But guess what? Xbox had their showcase, so they weren't going to show anything there. PlayStation had nothing to show. Nintendo is Nintendo, so let's not even try to figure Nintendo out.
Yeah.
Like, there was not a lot going around. Ubisoft had their own showcase,
but there was a lot. There was a lot of games at Game Fest.
There was a lot of games at Game Fest, but I'm talking. You said that like you framed it like Jeff specifically was like, I'm gonna do a showcase this year and I'm just gonna show indie games, and I don't think that was the case. I think Jeff just didn't have enough big games to show, so he leaned on the indie games.
Yeah, sure,
which is fine.
Regardless, indie games are doing great. People are still buying and playing indie games. The Fortnites and the Destiny 2s and the Valorants, they can all still survive. The Power Worlds can survive. The long-term games can survive, and if people want to play them exclusively, that's fine.
And then I would also argue with you use Suicide Squad as an example.
Yeah.
Like, I'll use that example right back as like, well, that's what happens when the game industry becomes stagnant, where
absolutely
you could have had an Arkham style game as the Suicide Squad,
sure,
and that would have been fucking dope. But instead, you got this stupid live service, shoehorned in experience that ended up being terrible.
But
that's the product of it.
Number one, you have to take the chance, and two, you have to have those games that fail to show what gamers want. You need that Kill the Justice League to fail.
But those games keep coming, and yet they keep making them because they see the success of
exactly.
Wow, people haven't stopped playing Fortnite for 6 years.
But they don't learn. The Hogwarts game.
Exactly, they don't learn. That's the problem.
They learn, but they don't learn until something fails.
But that's why customers that's what Bucky's saying. Bucky's saying is all these people that spend 7 years playing Fortnite and nothing else. Guess what? All the game companies see that and they're like, well, we need to make the next Fortnite. And then we have to make a Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. And despite the fact that game fails, they keep trying. Remember Anthem? Remember Suicide Squad? Remember, we could go and talk the Avengers. We could talk about all these live service games that on paper sound really fucking cool and never turn out to be anything other than 2 hours of a cool campaign. And that's the problem. And that's where Bucky's coming from. And that's why I say I agree with Bucky. I agree with what you're saying in a sense that, play what you want.
Play what you want.
Yeah, absolutely. I get it. But that doesn't mean that Bucky's words don't ring true, though, is my point.
No, it does ring true, but I just don't agree with it completely.
So you don't agree with a truth? You just said that. You said Bucky was right. It's the truth.
Some of the things he said were right.
But you don't agree with it.
Some of the things he said were right.
You heard it here first.
I don't agree with him completely.
Devereaux, you heard it here first. Devereaux disagrees with facts.
Why do you want to force people to play the games that they don't want to play?
Have you fucked the couch?
Why do you want to force people to play games that they don't want to play?
I didn't say that.
But you're saying that, hey, stop playing your live service games and play some indie games. That's what he's saying, and you agree with that 100%. That's what you said.
I believe that those players should go and play more games.
Why? Why do you want to force them to play things that they don't want to play?
I think that it's good for the health of the industry.
Why would you do that?
It's good for the health of the industry. You can still go back to it.
It's crazy.
You can still go back to it.
17 isn't you're just wild today.
No. You can't ever say that ever again. That's a line, man. That's a line. You can never.
Crazy.
You can't ever talk about that ever again. I was reading the article Oh no. No.
I don't know. Let people play the games they want to play. If they want to play one game for their whole life, more power to them.
Yeah, sure. Number 20 on the headlines. THQ had their THQ Nordic showcase. Showed off some cool games. Just going to run through them real quick. The Eternal Life of Goldman. I thought this looked pretty decent. Space for Sale. Epic Mickey Rebrushed is coming out September 24th. We knew about that. Wreckfest, which was a racing game. Titan Quest 2. Gothic remake. I was actually admittedly Way of the Hunter.
Besides Mickey, I don't know.
Yeah, nothing really stood out to me. I was kind of disappointed. I was expecting to hear more about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Ronin game, and we didn't get anything from that. So I was like, oh, I was a little disappointed. So that's why we're not diving in deeper. I made a point when making the script to talk about it, but nothing really stood out to me. So
okay.
It was fine. But also, for the interest of time, we're just going to move on. Last headline for the day: High on Life. The big hilarious hit for that for Max.
I haven't played it. I have to play that.
It's not on Game Pass anymore, but I have a physical copy now, thanks to limited run games.
And I'm sure it'll return to Game
It's a
Pass.
good game. It's a really good game. It's really funny. I would watch you play that.
Okay.
JB Smooth.
It's a short game too, right? It's like
it's
10 hours.
Yeah, it's not super long. JB Smooth is going to produce and potentially star in an animated comedy series based on High on Life. This comes from Deadline. Emmy winner JB Smooth from Curb Your Enthusiasm is set to produce a comedic animated series based on the game. The actor, who launched his production outfit, Alternate Side Productions, last year, hasn't officially been cast in the development project, but we hear there's a good chance he will. High on Life is a comedic first-person shooter game with action-adventure and Metroidvania elements. It takes place in a science fiction world which features talking guns and sees humanity's fate in jeopardy after an alien cartel discovers that humans are the most potent drug in the cosmos. That is in fact the game. I mean, I've played it. It's a great game. Development is underway between Alternate and Squatch Games and Striker Entertainment. Alternate Side Productions will serve as executive producers with Russell Binder and Mandy Bardispanian from Striker Entertainment, along with the game's developer and owner Squatch Games. It's a great game, and I would definitely actually check out this series.
I hope it leads to a High on Life too.
I think I do think they're going to make a High on Life 2, actually. I do see them doing that. So we'll see what happens. That's it for the headlines. Let's get into the game releases of the week for August 5th. But before I do that, I just wanted to kind of point out something that maybe people didn't know. I think I mentioned it before. I thought about not doing a game releases of the week this week.
Okay.
Reason being because some behind the scenes stuff, I would always get that from Game Informer. So, and you could when I started using Game Informer for it on their website, I've been using them for about 3 or 4 years for this.
Yeah.
With the game releases, that's how I would organize the game releases, even before I was doing a podcast. And this is GameSpot. I'm using GameSpot now. Last time 4 years ago, I thought GameSpot's list was really unfinished and had a lot of holes. I started using Game Informer because they really seem to include everything. GameSpot has a lot of games that I would consider not very well known on this list here coming out this week. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I thought about not doing it just because it's as an ode to Game Informer. It's well, they're gone, so there is no game releases this week to share. Just kind of show how meaningful Game Informer was. But when I was putting the script together last minute, I just decided to throw it together. So that being said, the game releases for the week of August 5th coming out tomorrow on the 6th. Signy All Guns Blazing on PS5, Xbox Series, and PC. One Button Bosses on PC on August 6th. Volgar the Viking 2, PS5, PS4, Xbox Series, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Cat Quest 3 comes out on PS5, PS4, Xbox Series, Xbox One, Switch, and PC on August 8th. Deathbound for PS5, Xbox Series, and PC on August 8th. SteamWorld Heist 2 on PS5, PS4, Xbox Series, Xbox One, Switch, and PC on August 8th. That time I got reincarnated as a slime. Isekai, sorry. Yeah, sorry. Chronicles, PS5, PS4, Xbox Series, Xbox One, Switch, and PC on August 8th. Rattenreich, PC, August 9th. And The Crush House, PC, August 9th. Deborah, what is your pick for the week?
Right now I have Cat Quest 3 gameplay,
Mm.
and there might be... I honestly don't know much about any of these games. Cat Quest 3 might be the only one I've seen before, but...
So my pick for the week is a pick that I did research on today when making this.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you, Cat Quest was and SteamWorld Heist 2 was the only two.
Yeah, SteamWorld.
Those are the only two games I had seen before. But my pick for the week is going to be Rattenreich.
Okay.
So this is a PC RTS strategy game with realistic combat, and it takes place in a world of warring rodents. So it's like rats, lizards, cockroaches.
I'm looking at like
you can see like the people, like they're rats.
Yeah.
They're not real people.
Okay, that's weird, but I like it.
Yeah, it just seemed really interesting. It caught my eye, and I'm a sucker for RTSs, even though I'm dog shit at them. So that's my pick for the week.
Okay,
it's on Steam. Go check it out. Deborah's gonna put up some gameplay real quick. Let's see what it looks like. It looks pretty. Definitely looks pretty.
It's a cool idea. Different type of rats and.
It's like rats versus lizards versus like cockroaches apparently.
Yeah,
and
that's cool.
It's like we got to kill the cockroaches. Yeah. All right. Well, that is it for the show this week. I'm still playing Octopath Traveler. I'm trying to move through it at a fast pace. The last week or so has been a little on the rough side. I'm at 60 hours now. Okay. So I got about 10 hours in about a week. I think that's pretty good.
How far do you feel like you've gotten? Because I know you're doing a completionist run.
So the walkthrough... So for Xbox achievement's sake, technically 2 playthroughs are needed, but the second playthrough is like really abbreviated. So like the walkthrough said that it should take about 120 to 150 hours.
No, you're only halfway there.
Yeah, so
halfway to a quarter.
But the funny thing is that based off my knowledge of what's in the game, because playing this with the walkthrough has been crazy for me, because it's like
you told me you're.
It's like there's all this stuff I had no idea was in the game, and I'm like, holy shit, this game is massive. Like it's insane how much stuff there's in this game. So many like side dungeons and optional stuff. So it's like for me, based off my knowledge of the first game, I should be like 75% done.
Okay.
But I'm not. And it's throwing me off because it's like I'm doing like the main quests when the walkthrough tells me to. And it's like, so each character is 4 chapters, and I'm like almost done the chapter 3s in terms of the main quests. Okay. So it's like in my brain, I'm like, oh, we're wrapping this up. We're getting close. But apparently not.
But apparently not. It's kind of like, it's cool because you're seeing a lot of new content.
Oh yeah.
Like you're playing this and it's you're seeing a lot of new stuff.
I'm excited to go back to Octopath 2. Yeah. Which I think is a better game. And like if
there's probably just as much as you missed, and you're gonna go through all that.
I'm excited.
Yeah. No, I think that's that makes the second playthrough way better, I feel like, when there's a lot of content that I have not seen before.
I'm ultimately really glad that I went back and played Octopath 1. I mean, obviously, like there's a lot of games in the backlog that are just like crying.
Yeah.
It's like, you haven't played me before. Like Horizon Forbidden West, you haven't played me yet. I'm like, I know, sorry. I want to play it. I do. I really, really do. But like,
people play the games
I'm having such a great...
You're right. I agree with you 100%.
It's not a live service game though. It's not the same.
No.
It's not the same thing. It's a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Are you playing anything right now?
I'm still on Pikmin 3.
Okay. 4.
Yeah. 4, yes.
4, yeah.
Still on Pikmin 4.
He went backwards.
Yeah, went backwards.
He started on Pikmin 4, now he's on Pikmin 3.
Still enjoying it just as much. Like, it's a great game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm going to be... So, I'm going on vacation from Sunday to Thursday next week. I'm not going to be home, so I'm not going to be playing Octopath for that week, which really sucks. So, like, this week, I'm really going to try to hammer out as much as I can.
Octopath 1 is on Game Pass, right?
It is.
You probably could play on your phone.
The problem is I use the walkthrough on my phone, so it's like
gotcha.
if I suspend the cloud, it'll keep messing up.
Yeah.
Plus, like, I don't know how my grandparents, I'm visiting their shore house in Delaware. I don't know how good their internet's going to be, and like because they don't have great service where they are. So I'm going to be
the combat at least is.
I could do it.
Yeah.
I've played it on the cloud before when it first came out the first time. I played it. It was good. It worked.
Also, you're on vacation. It's like.
Well, I'm going to pick up something else. I'm going to play something on my Switch, probably. That's what's going to happen. Probably going to play something on the NSO, something small that I can play for 4 days and then be done with it.
Like you said, Rescue Team.
Probably. It'll probably be Rescue Team.
What did we rate that in our Pokemon tier list?
I don't remember. High though. I mean, middle, high mid. It's a great game. It's just not S or A tier. So yeah, that's pretty much what's going on. And like I said, we are going to be taking a week off next week because unless like news, the only way we'll do a podcast next week is if like the craziest news happens and I get home on Thursday and I'm like, you get done work and I'm like, Dev, you got to come over for like an hour. Like that would probably be the only way, unfortunately. I was going to do Sunday. I was going to try to do one where we could do one on Sunday, but then my trip got moved earlier. So I'm leaving. I have to work Sunday morning and then I'm coming home and then we're leaving.
Okay.
So I can't do it Sunday.
It's all right.
I know, but we'll try to figure something out, or odds are we're not going to do a show unless again, like if Xbox buys Ubisoft. Would you imagine if that happens tomorrow? It's like Xbox buys Ubisoft. It's just like
Nintendo buys Xbox and PlayStation.
Nintendo releases Pokemon S.
Yeah.
Nintendo puts out Pokemon Red on the NSO. It's like I'll look at it and be like that didn't happen. No way. That's a fake article. But all right. So we'll be back probably in 2 weeks. Once again, thank you to everyone hanging out with us tonight, watching the podcast. Please make sure you like and subscribe. It helps us out. Check out our last week's podcast where we talk about a bunch of great stuff. News might be a little old, but I think the conversation kind of stays.
There's the death of Xbox 360. So.
Yes, that's actually a great topic. Go check out the death of Xbox 360 where we talk about Xbox 360 games that meant the most to us.
One I forgot and I regretted it is Borderlands. Borderlands was a huge game for me.
Well, that movie's about to tank, so it's okay. It's okay to forget about it because everyone else has forgotten about Borderlands.
That hurts.
It's true though. It's just true. But anyways, like, comment, subscribe. In the description below, you can find our Discord. Please join our Discord where we hang out there and talk video games all week. Other than that, see you guys in 2 weeks.
See ya.
Fucking bastards at Nintendo. They could just put out the Pokemon games. They could just do it. They could just do it though. It would be easy for them. It would be no effort.
Too, right? They don't exist.
I know they don't exist.
At this point, they don't exist.
I know they don't exist, but they could do it.
They lost the Pokemon files. They don't exist either. They don't have them anymore.
Like the Pokedex?
Yeah,
they lost the Pokedex?
Yeah, the official Pokedex.
Ash's Pokedex? They lost it?
They lost it.
Oh my god, how did this happen to us?